just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water. Jaws 2 is a 1978 sequel to the hit movie Jaws. Roy Scheider, Lorraine Gray, and Murray Hamilton returned, but this time Steven Spielberg did not come back to direct. Instead, directing duties went to Jeanette Swarzak. With the first Jaws being a massive success and the first summer blockbuster, one of the first movies to gross as much as it did, Universal was like, sequel. We want a sequel. So without having source material in the form of a book, what do you make this movie about? It's a few years later, and for some reason, Martin's son Sean hasn't grown much, a couple of years, but the oldest son Mike has grown 10 years in this amount of time, and he's now a teenager. Being a teenager on Amity Island, the popular pastime is sailing. A lot of teens are doing that because, as it's said in the movie, what else are we going to do with our time on an island? The movie starts with a couple of divers exploring the wreckage of the Orca, Quint's ship from the first movie. And they're taking pictures underwater, and suddenly a shark attacks. When Chief Brody and the others get involved in this story, they found an abandoned boat that belonged to the divers. And they're not thinking, oh my god, shark attack. It's not until another attack later where a water skier gets eaten by the shark, and the captain of the ship, the pilot, the driver, the boater, gets attacked, and they pour gasoline on themselves and the shark, and boat goes boom. Martin starts to get kind of nervous, and a dead whale pops up on the beach, and he's instantly like, oh, check its bite radius. I think the first act of this movie is slow. And it's not the slow burn kind of slow either. See, the first Jaws got away with it because Amity Island was a populated town, and we got to know the ins and outs and get a feel for this town and make it a character itself. With this one, you don't really get that. I think where the movie really succeeds is in its second act. You have Martin, who suspects that it's another shark, and he's using everything he learned from the first movie. He's talking about bite radius. Yes, I've dealt with a shark before. I know sharks do this and this. And when he's talking to the mayor and the council members, he's like, guys, I've dealt with this. I do not want to get back on a boat and have to do this shit again. And you really get to see this obsessive side of him that he's driven to madness by the idea of there's a shark, I know it's a shark. Similar to the first movie, there's no evidence of a shark attack reoccurring and becoming a regular thing. This time they're not talking about closing down the beaches or anything. Literally, there's a scene where Martin goes to the mayor, and he says, I think we have another shark on our hands. And the mayor is like, Jesus Christ, are you serious? Are you sure? Okay, what proof do you have? And Martin's like, I mean, there's the bite radius on that whale there. Okay, what other proof do you have? Bite radius. Shark go down. Big teeth. Big mouth. And the mayor is... There's a deleted scene that I really wish they kept in where the city council is having a vote on whether or not to keep Martin as the chief, because he has opened fire on a beach at the water, and it turned out to just be like a pack of fish, a school of bluegill fish. And the city council is going, out, we can't keep him. And in this deleted scene, they've put it to a vote on whether or not to fire Martin or to keep him on, and the sole person to vote to keep him is the mayor. And I wish they would have kept that. Lorraine Gray gets a little bit more to do this time around as Mrs. Brody. This time she's working with a real estate developer. It kind of replaces the whole close the beaches for the 4th of July thing, because they've got people who are coming in looking to invest in real estate there. And Martin is looking crazy, and so they're like, oh, we don't want him looking crazy in front of people who are looking to invest. So the third act of this movie has all the teenagers on Amity Island on their boats, and the shark attacks and is picking them off. And they manage to get their boats together, and Mike Brody gets knocked out. His little brother is tagging along with him because he's being an annoying little brother that's like, no, you're grounded, and if you go and don't take me, I'm going to tell mom and dad. And there is something I really like in the third act where Mike has been knocked out, and he was taken on another boat to get back to the island. Because of this separation, they couldn't take the little brother with them. And so they've got this massive boats that are all broken and kind of strung together. And the thing I really liked about it was the way the teens were treating Sean Brody. He's the annoying little brother, but he's also the kid that tags along, and you may be friends with Mike, but Sean's a part of the package, and they treat him like their little brother. I enjoy that. Downside of having every teenager from the island on here is I don't know them. They're not given enough to do to stand out. One of them got eaten, and I was pulling it up on IMDb to go, okay, was she the one that was trying to set Mike up on a blind date? Or who the hell was this? Who was she? I don't remember. There are characters on this mass of boats that I'm going, I have no idea who the couple in the back making out. I don't know who they are. I know that one is the mayor's son. I know that one is the geek that wants to go out with Miss Amity. But other than that, characters just don't really have a lot of personality. And you kind of get this antithesis of what made the third act of the first movie so great. Because the third act of the first movie was all about these three men that come from very different backgrounds and finding a way to get them to work together and get to common footing. And by the end of the movie, you know who these people are. 100%. I would be hard pressed to give the actual character names of the characters in the third act of this. So because the shark had an exploding boat in its face, it kind of has a Harvey Dent thing going on where half of its face is burned, and it looks cool. And it's a cool way to be like, nope, that is the shark from Jaws 2. It makes it unique. I've always heard how people think the shark from Jaws looks fake, and even on a rewatch, there's like one or two moments that I'm like, yeah, okay, I can kind of see it there. The shark in this never looks real. I don't buy it. It gets towards the end, and the shark is popping up in the middle of this boat from the bottom, and he's just going, and it looks so terrible and so fake, and I'm just like, God, were we even trying? It's a shame because I really like the second act of this movie, and it's one of the things that I think made me want to rewatch this, because I do like the idea of a character that has seen this shit before, and how are they going to handle this. So yeah, it's not a full recommendation. There are worse movies out there. There are worse shark movies out there. Like exorcism movies, there's really only been the one good one. And as far as shark movies go, based on the ones I've seen, there's only been one good one, and it's Jaws. Jaws 3, also known as Jaws 3D, is a 1983 film directed by Joe Alves. Joe Alves had previously served as production director on the first two Jaws movies. This time the film stars Dennis Quaid, Bess Armstrong, Simon McCorkindale, and Lou Gossett Jr. The film takes place at SeaWorld in Orlando, Florida. Dennis Quaid plays Mike Brody, who is the head of the construction at SeaWorld. They're getting ready to open their new lagoon, showing 4 different parts of the park. His girlfriend, Bess Armstrong, works there as a dolphin trainer / vet. The park is run by Lou Gossett Jr.'s character, Calvin Bouchard, who is partnered with Royce Fitzpatrick, played by Simon McCorkindale. Fitzpatrick is a photographer / hunter, and he is a lot of fun. So the movie begins when a great white shark crashes into the gate at SeaWorld. SeaWorld is connected to the ocean. So this shark crashes into this gate and knocks it off of its track. One of the people goes down to fix it at night. They get eaten by a shark. As they begin to investigate, hey, we don't know where this person has gone, let's look for him. They find a great white shark and they're attacked by it. It's when they capture this shark, they decide to have the only great white shark in captivity. However, great white sharks cannot be kept in captivity, and the shark soon dies. When they find the body of the missing worker, they discover that the bite radius does not match the size of their dead shark. And they realize that this was just a baby, and the mother is loose in the park. So, off the bat, this movie is dumb. It is stupid, and it knows it. The effects are shoddy at times. There's bad rotoscoping. Backgrounds don't look good. There are times that it'll switch shots and it'll go from being crystal clear to blurry. But this movie is also an hour and a half long, and it moves at a pretty quick pace. The only time I started to feel the length was maybe 45 minutes in, and I looked at the time and I went, oh, well, I'm halfway through. Okay, whatever. Unlike Jaws 2, where I was really feeling that first 40 minutes felt like it was an hour, this one seemed to go by at a good pace. So Universal greenlit this off the success of Jaws 2. The first Jaws movie was made for $7 million, and IMDb lists its worldwide gross at 400 and some odd million dollars. Now, that probably has to do with re-releases and all that. It's been re-released a number of times. Jaws 2 was made for $20 million and grossed $140 million. Still made a really great profit off of that. Jaws 3, however, was made for $20.5 million and only grossed $84 million worldwide. They were starting to see that, okay, a sequel once did really well. This still made a profit, enough so that they did greenlight a fourth movie, but it wasn't nearly the success that I think they wanted. The general rule of thumb on if a movie is profitable or not is to take its budget and multiply it by 2.5, because that includes all the marketing, how much they have to give up in their profits to the theater. Because if a movie makes $20 million and it was made for $10 million, the studio doesn't make $10 million off of that. The budget does not count for marketing. It doesn't count for how much the theaters sell tickets for. My dad used to say, movie theaters don't make their money off of the movie itself. It's why concessions are so expensive. They make their money there. It's often a partnership deal where the studio will ask for 40% of the ticket sales. That's an extreme number, but it happens. Famously, when the Star Wars sequel trilogy was coming out, Disney was taking like 60% of the ticket sales from the theaters. So a lot of theaters didn't want to carry that because they weren't going to make money off of that movie. This movie was shot in 3D, and it likes to throw things at the audience. As somebody watching it in 2D, sometimes that can be annoying. I think back to like Friday the 13th Part 3, where somebody passes a joint to the camera. The fact that this movie is dumb and has unfinished effects and shoddy green screen rotoscoping and the story is stupid honestly kind of adds to the charm of this. There was a lot of times that I was just having fun, and I couldn't help but think that if this got re-released in 3D, I'd like to see it in 3D on a big screen. I don't know if there's a 3D Blu-ray or not. If there is, I wouldn't mind adding it to my collection. The big difference for me between this film and Jaws 2 in terms of quality and enjoyment, Jaws 2 is technically a better movie. It is better made, it is written better, it has a more compelling story, but this was more enjoyable to watch because of its quirks, because of the bad special effects because, oh look, there's Leah Thompson showing up, you know, a year before she played Lorraine McFly. You get to see young Dennis Quaid here, who was coked out of his mind and doesn't even remember filming this. You get Simon McCorkindale, who honestly should have been a bigger star than he was. May he rest in peace. Watching him in this movie, I was sitting there going, you know, if he came to me and said this guy was up for the role of James Bond the same time Pierce Brosnan was, I'd believe it, because he's British, he's smarmy enough, but he's also charming enough that I'd buy it. For the most part, the cast is really likable. The cast is also smaller so that you know who characters are. Yes, there are extras throughout the park, and when the shit hits the fan, you really have the extras going nuts and havoc ensuing, but you still know who the characters are. I was looking it up, and this movie came out 10 years after Westworld. For those of you who don't know, Westworld was a 1973 movie written by Michael Crichton, who also would go on to write Jurassic Park. And the idea of an amusement park going haywire and the guests being in danger is something that is still being done today. Watching it, I was having flashbacks to seeing Jurassic World in theaters. The key difference here is I actually had fun with this movie and enjoyed it. Oh, we'll get into that fucking. We'll do Jurassic World at some point, and it'll be. Honestly, Jaws 3D was a lot of fun, and I feel like it's something I will revisit in the future. I haven't given this movie enough love, and I think I need to fix that. This time, it's personal. Jaws: The Revenge is a 1987 picture directed by Joseph Sargent. It is the final of the 4 Universal Pictures Jaws films. This time, we have Lorraine Gray returning as Ellen Brody, this time joined by Lance Guest as Michael Brody, Mario Van Peebles as Jake, and Michael Caine as Hoagie. So, one of the first things is, this is a Christmas movie. Fa la 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 la. It always kind of takes me by surprise. This is considered one of the worst movies ever made. Is it though? Is it really? I mean, it's not good, but is it really one of the worst ones? I feel like the truly, truly bad things for this movie don't happen until the very end, when we get the shark that roars, reused special effects from the first film, reused shots from the first film, a character having a flashback to an event she was not present for. Before then, there are dumb things in this movie, but there's also things I do enjoy. So let's get into the plot a little bit here. We spend the first 15 to 20 minutes of this movie in Amity Island. Again, it's played by Martha's Vineyard, and we do have some returning cast members. Lee Fierro comes back as Mrs. Kittner. Her son was killed in the first movie. There's the secretary at the police department. It's the same actress. Little touches like that of continuity I really, really love. It's shot in the same location as the first 2 Jaws movies. It doesn't look like it. In fact, if you told me that they recreated this as a set, I'd believe you. It doesn't have that warm feel, that coziness that Amity Island has in the first two movies. But we're not there for too long. Sean Brody, the youngest child, has followed in his late father's footsteps to become a police officer on Amity Island. He gets a call to go out to move this log from this buoy, and he goes out and proceeds to get his arm bitten off by a shark. Now, one of the things that I thought was really funny about this is he's wearing a yellow slicker, and when he gets his arm bitten off, it very much resembles Georgie from It. And then the shark comes and eats his boat, and then eats Sean. So right off the bat, we're losing a character from that's been in all three previous movies. This is a good and bad thing. I feel like the loss doesn't really hurt because Sean has been played by a different actor each time. But it is an excuse to kick the plot into gear, and really, this is Lorraine Gray's movie. She finally gets to step out from being a side character and a partner for Martin Brody to become her own character. And you really get to see somebody who has witnessed the love of their life go through the events of the first two films, who has become obsessed with a shark, and you see the pain that it's caused her. You also get this great story about grief, and if I can give props to anything in this movie, it's that I do buy her grief. I buy the character's grief, I buy the actress playing it. There's moments where she's laughing at the funeral because she's thinking back, and it's showing flashbacks so that we really know what she's thinking, but she's thinking about the scene in the first movie where Sean is sitting at the table and he's mimicking everything the chief is doing. I love it. There's a scene where they're on a ferry and everybody's laughing and she breaks down crying. And as an audience, you're going, okay, it's because she's seeing these happy moments that are happening now, and it's really hitting her like, no, I'm never going to have these moments with my son again. I think Lorraine Gray did a great job. This was her last movie. She hasn't acted in anything since. And I think that's a shame. This time Lance Guest is playing Michael Brody. And the only thing I've really seen Lance Guest in was Halloween 2. I know he's the last Starfighter, but I've never seen that. Michael Brody is working on getting his doctorate. He's doing this grant with his partner, played by Mario Van Peebles, and they're studying conches. Really, you kind of get this everyman quality out of Lance, and I think it works nicely. Something that did kind of stick in my head was I found it funny, curly hair, and he's got a beard, and he looks not unlike Richard Dreyfuss does in the original Jaws. Whether that was a choice of, yeah, we're doing it as a callback to this character, or it was kind of an inside joke for people who read the book, I don't know, but I did kind of notice it this time, and it made me chuckle a little bit. Michael has a wife and child. Michael, his wife, and daughter come back to Amity Island for the funeral, and to try and help their mom, to help Ellen Brody through this time, they offer her to come down to the Bahamas with them, where they live. Ellen goes down, and along the way, they take a small charter plane that's flown by Hoagie, who is played by Michael Caine. Michael Caine, very famously, won an Academy Award, but could not accept it because he was filming this movie. He also has a very famous line where he was quoted as saying, "I have not seen the movie. By all accounts, it's terrible. I have seen the house it paid for, however, and by all accounts, it's terrific." I love Michael Caine in this movie. He's playing Michael Caine. He's playing that charming character that you want more of him, and I kind of want more of his backstory. They hint and heavily suggest that the idea that he's a pilot who's involved in drug smuggling, but they never outright say it. And honestly, I think if this movie was just focused on Ellen Brody and Hoagie, I'd have a blast with it. The returning characters are fine. Like they're okay. This movie is bad. The effects are bad. Oh my god. The reason that this is called Jaws the Revenge has to do with the fact that the shark is going after Michael anytime he's in the water, and that Ellen keeps having dreams of being attacked by this shark, and she believes that this is the same shark that killed Sean. She thinks the shark has come from Amity Island in New York all the way down to Bahamas to get revenge. When it comes to shark movies, you have two options. You can either cut around a shark that's not working and not show anything, or you can quick cut everything and do flashes of a shark and the shark's teeth, and then show blood in water. The latter two Jaws movies go for the second option, and I think that is part of the problem with these. Jaws the Revenge, it's not a good movie. It is the worst Jaws movie. 11-year-old me really liked this movie when I was 11 and I binged through all the Jaws movies for the first time. I had actually considered it to be the best movie in the Jaws series. 11-year-old me is a fucking idiot. But sometimes he's on the right track. It's not a good movie. There's so many things to point out and go, oh my god, no. My favorite bad effect in this movie, that's the thing, is with this movie, you don't talk about good effects or moments that really touched your heart or made you smile or what have you. You talk about, oh my god, this part was so bad, I love it. My favorite bad effect in this is the end of the movie. The shark is dead, and the surviving characters are there floating in the water, and they have gone from filming on the ocean to filming in a tank. And the way you know that it's a tank is suddenly the sky behind them is very poorly painted, and you're seeing where the water is hitting the wall and splashing up against it. The fuck? This movie had a $20 million budget. It had the same budget as the second and third movie. Where the hell did the money go? Was the money just spent on the fact that they were filming in the Bahamas and on Michael Caine? Michael Caine got $1.5 million in 1987 money. That's a lot. And it's just kind of one of those, you sit there and you're baffled. But This is the kind of movie that's fun with a group of friends. So get a group together, use your weapon of choice, and have a good time. Laugh at the movie, make fun of it, enjoy yourself. So, a little addendum to this video. I thought about doing a ranking video separate, but I really don't have anything to add that I think would make it worth its own video. In terms of quality, you have Jaws, Jaws 2, Jaws 3, and Jaws the Revenge. They all go down half steps each time. But in terms of enjoyability, fun, what would I rather rewatch? Number 4 is Jaws 2. I really enjoy the second act, but the first and third acts are bad. The second act may be the best thing in any of the sequels, but those other 2 acts just make it something I'm not eager to revisit. In third place, Jaws the Revenge. It's bad. I just talked about how bad it is. Bad effects, bad plot, enjoyable moments to deal with grief and seeing where this family is now. In second place, whoa, is Jaws 3D. It is a schlocky B movie that doesn't try to be anything more than it is. It has bad effects, but that kind of adds to the charm of it. And sometimes you just want a bad B movie. And in first place, shock of shocks, it is the perfect movie, Jaws. I would watch this anytime. If you tell me Jaws is playing, I'm there. If you're like, hey, let's watch Jaws, fuck yeah, it's Jaws.